Hello everyone, I hope you've had a good week, and it's 2 weeks roundup time back on the channel in this new concise, more to the point roundup format. Hope you're liking that, but I won't jabber on. Typically they last about 5 to 6 minutes less than when we was going around the country, so hopefully that's a bit quicker for you. But before we come to the top 6, let's have a look at the pinball tables that we always look at this time round, and some quite good ones here. The first table we looked at was the ADDAMS family as a DLC by Farsight Studios in 2015, part of the Pinball Arcade of course, and based on the show The ADDAMS Family. Now this table originally came out by Bally in 1992 and based on the TV series, but more the film really. It's got all your characters there, Gomez, Lurch, The Thing, Uncle Fester, and what's really good about this table is the music and the mansion there and the different lights that come on and off. But more importantly, I really like the hand that comes out, thing at the end there, which grabs the balls periodically when you get multi-ball lock. A really fun table, this one. Never seen it in the real life, as I have. I haven't seen a lot of them in the real life, to be honest with you. But this is one of the highlights of Season 4. So if you're thinking about getting the Pinball Arcade, I haven't convinced you already, hopefully that'll tip you over the edge and you'll at least get a few. If you buy the... it's free to download the Pinball Arcade, and you do get 4 tables first of all. So at least try it out. You can always delete it. For free, you haven't missed out at all. And the second table we looked at was CYCLONE. Not as exciting as the ADDAMS family, to be honest with you, based on a table by Williams in 1988. It's set in an amusement park. It's got a moving Ferris wheel on the top left there and a few other bits and bobs, but I prefer Funhouse, which is also set in an amusement park. The thing with this table is it's a little bit of a disappointment. There is no multi-ball feature, and that's my favourite bit from pinball games, is the multi-ball, try and activate them. But it's okay, I suppose. 1988, from an era before, in my opinion, pinball tables really got going with the revolution, which is the 90s, but it's round about there. So ADDAMS family and CYCLONE. Two pretty good tables. As I say, my preference is a lot for the ADDAMS family. So anyway, let's come to the top 6, working from 6, my least favourite, to most favourite. You'll probably disagree with this order, but if you do, that's no problem at all. It's all about different opinions in this table, not slating anyone for thinking something preposterous or completely and utterly different, because it all comes from your own nostalgia and point of view. So here we go. In 6th place this time on the Commodore Amiga, I put Galaxy Force 2 by Activision in 1990, based on the arcade cabinet from a couple of years earlier on, and all computer conversion struggle on this one. I reviewed the Spectrum Galaxy Force a few weeks back, and that was, well, in my opinion, terrible, although it was a miracle what the Spectrum was actually doing. The coders did a fantastic job, but the task was too big, and so to speak it is on the Amiga as well. It's 16-bit technology. Frame rate isn't brilliant. I'm told the Atari ST version had slightly better frame rate, but I haven't seen the Atari ST version, but I presume it's not as good as the arcades as well. So Galaxy Force 2, you're going through space and you must destroy aliens. It's set through tunnel stages and open air battlefield stages, bit like Space Harrier and the Sega games, but not very good. In 5th place is an Amiga game again, so they come 5th and 6th this time, sorry about that. It's Turbo Cup by French outfit Lauracelles in 1988. Now what lets this game down, though it is a little bit of fun I suppose at the time, but the chase view of this is really strange. It feels like you're standing on a bridge across a motorway following it, which makes it awkward. The cars weave in sort of like red arrows formation, so they're not actually racing each other, it don't seem. They never overtake each other. All the cars are yellow. If you had to compare it with what come later, Lotus Esprit Turbo Challenge, that like knocks this for 6 really. There's 4 courses to race on, all seem pretty similar. It's not fun at all. If you bump into other cars, you tend to go into a spin and they take no damage at all, and overtaking is extremely tricky. You have a qualifying stage and then the race itself. It's okay. I'm told it runs quicker on an Amiga 1200 as opposed to the 500 version I was playing, but it can't be that much better, to be honest with you. And in 4th place, rounding up the bottom 3, This could have been in the top 3. I kept changing my mind because I did have quite a lot of fun with it, only because I was so bad. It's on the ZX Spectrum 48K, ATV Simulator by good old Codemasters in 1987. Yep, so we've got 87, 88 and 90. You control this like quad bike over separate stages, and yeah, you must go over obstacles, doing wheelies and not falling out of your car. There's 1-player and 2-player mode. 2-player mode is very clever, it goes to split screen, a bit like Kickstart 2. But it's a very frustrating game, but lots of different environments there, woodland and even ice flows, yes. I run into a bit of a bug there on the ice flow section, but do have a look at that review if you haven't already. I was really bad, but ATV Simulator, a pretty good game for 8-bit technology there. So rounding up the bottom 3 then, just to recap. In 6th place was Galaxy Force 2 by Activision in 1990 on the Amiga. In 5th place, Turbo Cup by Laurel in 1988, also on the Commodore Amiga. And in 4th place, ATV Simulator by Codemasters in 87 on the ZX Spectrum. So where does that leave the top 3? Getting exciting here. Remember, if you've got a different set of 6, put them below. They might be completely and utterly different. And I always like hearing from you and different opinions in particular. As long as it doesn't get shouty and argumentative, that's fine. Hooray! So in 3rd place then, it's a fighting game on the Game Boy Advance. King of Fighters Neo Blood by Sammy Corporation in 2002. Now, I've already reviewed the sequel to this, which was Howling Blood by Atlas. I think it was about a year or 2 years later. And I put that at number 1. And I can see that's a little bit more polished than this. Although this is good as well, but not quite good enough to get it in 1st place when it's up against other ones in 2nd and 1st place. But it's standard fare really. You have a group of fighters that have met up to smack each other's heads in to prove that they're the best fighter in the whole wide world. And why not? Be good when this game is eventually VR, will it? Maybe not. But you've got a choice of different characters, there's different modes there, tag team, team modes. If you've got a link cable, you can play against a friend if you can find one. And not a bad little game. Frame rate is okay, the sequel was a little bit better. For uninitiated in fighting games, these are all seem pretty similar, but if you're into them, trying to learn the special moves, it does pay dividends. I'm a bit of a button masher when it comes to these fighting games. You might be the same, or you might be a person that actually specialises in learning everything, and if you are, you're going to get heaps more out of it. Now in 2nd place, a huge game. Gran Turismo 2 on the PlayStation 1. Now Gran Turismo, the original game, was actually a huge hit by Sony. Gran Turismo 2 is by Sony in 1999, but such a huge hit they had to get another game out quite quickly. In the review I just looked at the arcade mode because otherwise the review would have gone on hours, because to get anywhere in that game you have to do the driving licenses first, which I haven't got saved. So I did arcade mode just to get you a flavour of the game, but it's a lot more involved than my review said. You compete in different races, getting different licenses, earning different money. There's over about 650 cars from lots of different manufacturers, so this game would have totally absorbed you back in the day, so that's why I've got it in 2nd place, quite high up. It would have been a lot of people's favourite games of all time, I would imagine. Looks a bit pixelated now looking back on it when you look at the future Gran Turismo games that were going to come out, and also Forza as well, and the Need for Speed games. But a fantastic little game which kept you involved. And in 1st place, what does that leave then? Well, if you've been watching all the videos, you've probably worked it out already. It's Codemasters again, and I'm glad to say this week at least, a ZX Spectrum 48K game has made it to the top of the charts. It's fast food. Now that's controversial, that got it ahead of Gran Turismo and King of Fighters, but there it is. It's Fast Food by Codemasters in 1989. An absolutely delightful classic game. Again, I've got my retro nostalgia goggles on, because if you played all these games with no logic computer games, you probably wouldn't have this first. But it's a Pac-Man clone where you control the now legendary character Dizzy, who's just an egg there, walking around a maze, eating all the food and avoiding all the nasties. Yes, it does sound very Pac-Man, doesn't it, really? But there's another similar game by Codemasters also, called Quick Snacks, which we might come to in a few months' time, or maybe even sooner. A lovely little game. I got quite far on it. It's quite a long review, that one, which proves I always like the game if they go on longer than 10 minutes, because although my aim is to get each review 10 minutes normally, I sometimes forget myself and get involved so much, then I look at the clock and 20 minutes or even half an hour's gone by. So I really enjoyed this game. A nice gentle learning curve. It doesn't go from extremely difficult at a certain point, which a lot of the Spectrum games did. So just rounding up the top 3 then in this 2-week roundup. It's 3rd place, King of Fighters Neo Blood, but on the Game Boy Advance in 2002. 2nd place, the amazing Gran Turismo 2 by Sony in 1999. And top of the shop this time is Fast Food by Codemasters on the ZX Spectrum in 1989. Okay, thanks for watching all the videos as usual, or just some of them if you did. If you missed a few of them and interested in this roundup, click on the links below and it comes up in the titles down the bottom. And here's to another fun-packed week. Take good care of yourself, and yeah, goodbye.
Goodbye.